Alright, so here's a level 2 on graphing, 6.2. Let's recall real quick that the steps you're going to take are to solve for y, if it's not already done so. You'll complete a t-chart, with your x and y values or your input and output values. You'll plot each ordered pair, and then you're going to connect it with a straight line. So let's use those steps when solving this problem right here. Okay, so in this example, you can see that y is already by itself, so that's a good step. Step 1 is done. Okay, so step 1 done. Step 2 is to complete a t-chart. So I'm going to make another t-chart. I'm just going to put it sideways so I save more space, but you can do it vertically if you like. And make room for 4 numbers. So I'm going to use -1, 0, 1, and 2 for my domain or for my input. And so one at a time I'm going to plug those in. Y equals -2 times -1 minus 3. So that simplifies to +2 minus 3, which is -1. So there's my first answer. Next one, y equals -2 times 0 minus 3. Well, that's 0 minus 3, which is just -3. Okay, I'm going to try the next one. Y equals -2 times 1 minus 3. -2 minus 3, which gives me -5. Okay, and the last one, y equals -2 times 2 minus 3. -4 minus 3 gives me -7. And so there I've come up with my t-chart, t-table. I could write my ordered pairs like this if it's more convenient for myself to help remind me how to graph these. Or you can just leave them in your t-chart and graph them straight from there. Okay, so then I come to my graph that I already have prepared and I go ahead and plot these. So -1, -1, that would be right here. 0, -3, 1, -5, and 2, -7. And you can see here that if I connect these dots together, they're going to create a straight line, and that would be the graph of that. Okay, let's try one more example. Move on from here. Feel free to pause and rewind the video as needed. Okay, so once again, y is already solved by itself. This time I'll show you vertically what a t-chart would look like, in case you want to do it that way. Okay, x I'm going to use -1, 0, 1, and 2. Plug it in one at a time. Y equals 1/2 x, 1/2 times -1 minus 7. So if I like to change this to a decimal, I can. This is -0.5 minus 7. So my answer is going to be -7.5. Next, y equals 1/2 times 0 minus 7. Well, that's just 0 minus 7 or -7. You're going to continue on. Now, some of you might start to notice that there's a pattern happening here. And you might notice that the pattern, which is happening, I'll change it to a decimal. The pattern that's happening here is it's decreasing by 1/2 each time, right? So -7.5, or I should say increasing by 1/2, up to 7, -7, up to -7, 6.5, then up to -6. I can already tell what that next one's going to be. And later we're going to talk about where you can find that pattern. But here I get 1 minus 7, which happens to be -6. So there it is right there. And so here are my ordered pairs. And I just plot these points once again on my graph. So take a graph out, go to -1, -7.5, so it's going to be between 7 and 8, be right there. 0, -7, 1, -6.5, and then 2, -6. And you can see here it's a little bit more of a flat line, but that would be the equation of my line right there. Okay, take a look at, I'll have one more video, a level 3, where you actually have to solve for y, you have to get y by itself.